Hi everyone, I'm Dustin McDallas and I'm here to do an overview of how I build trauma kits from different sizes, small, medium, and large. The large one is not included here as it's going to be a future video, but here it is. Hope you enjoy. I've been a nurse for 10 years and I love doing mock MCI training. Gauze pads. I mostly buy a lot of gauze pads. I ran out. I usually buy them from the dollar store. And they're cheap there if you want something fast and on the way. But I had a lot of time and I was just prepping. So this doubles as a lighter. Not a lighter, a fire starter. This is a belt cutter. I'm bringing this with me to the plane. This blade is legal. It should be legal because it's not exposed. That's the biggest thing. If it's sticking out, if the blade is sticking out, then it's not good. So I'm really excited. I actually bought this is because when I usually need a light, I usually also need both of my hands, and I can't be holding a light as I'm working with my hands. It was 2 for 1. They are stainless steel, and once again, I love hooking things onto my belt, and it's going to be easier to find. This is a different type of hemorrhage kit. So, stop the bleed kit, whatever you want to call it, stop the bleed, hemorrhage kit, tourniquet, swap tourniquet. So what this does is you can even cut it to size. You wrap it. It's like a big rubber band. What it does is it wraps around. You could even, I believe you can use this. Yep, so it's stretch, wrap, tuck tourniquets. What really helps is if you just put your hand on the actual artery. Tourniquets are great, but if you don't have an actual stop the bleed kit or tourniquet, you can pretty much put the palm of your hand on an artery like so and just hold on to there, and you just have to find it. If this was my thigh and this is my groin, artery runs through here, you literally just put your actual palm on it like so, and then you can alternate with somebody to change positions just so you don't get fatigued. My smallest first aid kit will be this small, and I usually have some sort of band-aids in there, gauze, a little rope. Those mini flashlights always come in handy. I'll usually have some sort of goggles in there as well, goggles in a hard case like this, a flashlight like this, and trauma shears. So this is something I would have in a bigger go bag. I'll post it after here. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So now that we're through that, here's just an example of my medium size go bag. And then like this one fits scissors, flashlights. This is my mini hard case. And I believe this was from the dollar store. It was an old Q-tip holder, and that one I can fit a bunch of Band-Aids, Benadryl, Zofran, and I can also fold up some gauze, put it in there, Benadryl, for any allergies. Yep, loratadine. That's another medium bag that that you can use. It's a hard case that fits a lot of items as well. It's nice that because it can't be crushed, but now that I'm looking at the Ziplocs, I'm probably going to be going towards the Ziplocs more because, like I said, waterproof is just so much nicer, even in the hard cases like this. If you have a rainy day and there's an emergency, it's going to be soaked. So the Ziplocs is nice and cheap. They've got the big ones. Like I said, I think I'm actually going to go for that one. I ended up making a medium Ziploc bag for my brother to bring to their trip to Europe, and it was nice and sturdy. It didn't really have holes on it. Just get the good types of Ziploc, like the Ziploc brand. I like this hard case because it's got that separator over there. Also, another thing that I love is the SpO2 monitors. Unfortunately, this one is broken. So, yep. I'm showing here a multi-tool, but I'll tell you guys what, if there's any writing material that you might need in an emergency setting, it's going to be a Sharpie. You don't have to have a multi-tool, but for me, Sharpies save the day. You can use the Sharpie to write on your gloves for a report. It's just nice. You can use the Sharpie to mark on a person's leg if that leg is the one that's injured with a tourniquet. So we use that Sharpie to put a big letter T on that person's leg if they've got a tourniquet. Actually, sometimes we put a big letter T on somebody's forehead with a Sharpie if they've got a tourniquet and the location of that tourniquet, because it's a lot of times these tourniquets can get forgotten when they're in the ER. So yeah, unfortunately sometimes we do have to write on a person's forehead about the tourniquet and the location. If you have any Ziploc laying around, it's great because it keeps everything waterproof. If you don't have bags or a trauma bag, Ziplocs are great. You can fit a lot. You can get the bigger Ziplocs. This is just a normal Ziploc, and you can stuff a bunch of stuff in there. The biggest thing with emergencies is things can get pretty soaked, so I'm actually kind of leaning more towards the Ziploc, because it keeps everything dry. I don't have to worry about, if you're out in the rain, you have to put your bag down somewhere, your gauze might get saturated. So yeah, I might actually switch more into this. So got some Benadryl there to pack in just for people with allergies. Always have a towel somewhere. It's great. This is a smaller one. This is just for examples, but you guys will see that I packed even feminine pads on there. They're very good for hemorrhage control. That and tampons. Sharpies are important, and I demonstrate why, because you can write on your glove and give report to EMS. So what I do is I usually write with my Sharpie on my gloves, like the vital signs of the patient, their date of birth, allergies, things like that. So I can just use my hand as a report sheet. That's one of the hard cases. Another small case I'm just showing. I think to keep things just a little bit faster in the future, I just ended up starting to write the things that I put in a certain bag. So here I have bandages, gauze. So this gives me a good idea of when I need to refill it, what I put in there, just to make it a little bit faster.